Yeah, baby, we're starting the podcast right now. We're back, you know what, dude, live. Welcome, everybody, to the show. YKWD. I started social media and podcasting. The fact, the YKWD podcast. YKWD's back again. Old school, back in the day, where it all started, before them all. YKWD. This podcast is so fun and crazy. It has no rules. Shut up, you're ruining this.
Where's the bandana, man?
Sorry, it's a comedy podcast. This isn't NPR.
That's what this podcast does.
Is there any better show? This is the original. All right, hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Robert Kelly, and welcome to another episode of You Know What, Dude? YKWD podcast. The first podcast to go acronym, by the way. I'm so sick of everybody having an acronym now. It's me, YKWD. You know what, dude? You know what, dude? Why is it that name? Because that's what I say. You know what, dude? I always say that. Okay? And we're above the Comedy Cellar at the Comedy Cellar Studios. And we have a very special guest on today who I just met for the first time. Danny, please introduce our guest.
We have Zach Zucker on the podcast today.
Hello.
That was terrible.
Yeah, I was going to say greetings. I've never said that in my life.
Greetings.
Yeah.
Buddy, I don't know you.
At all. And I'm coming in. I was going to say, when you said that you're the first acronym podcast, all I thought of was, well, once you go ack, you never go back. And so then
And once you go hack.
Yeah, then you become Zach. And here I am.
And we're back.
And we're back. Fuck. And thank you. This has been an epic podcast.
See you
Thank
later,
you so
man.
much.
It was so nice
Hey,
meeting
a pleasure
you.
to work with you.
Yeah, you know, no, but dude, first of all, you do a variety show.
I do.
It's called Stamp Town.
It is.
And I watched a bunch of clips of it. It reminded me look, I'm from stand-up. We go up, we do stand-up, we tell our jokes. It's a single person thing, right? But it reminded me of a show I used to do called Beecher's Madhouse.
I love the name of that.
I don't know if you ever heard of it. It was a variety show, but it was crazy. It was anarchy. It was, can I say that? Little people.
Yeah.
Beep that out. We're going to fucking douched on YouTube.
Yeah.
Little people. And it was, like a guy would balance a moped on his chin. And
Yeah.
there was strippers and dancers. And there was a 7-foot gay Russian sword swallower. And
Oh, yeah.
all this crazy shit. And they'd have like a fake breast competition. Whoever had the worst breast would win fake tits. And they'd give them a coupon. This chick would go up with the worst tits ever and just flop them out. And they'd go down to his knees and the place would go wild. And, it was Beecher. He had this, tuxedo, and he was this big roly-poly guy. And it was crazy. And then he would stand up, and we go up at the end in between.
Zach, why did you steal the show?
What was this?
Why did you steal the show?
Why did I steal? Oh, well, because I never got a chance. I don't fit in any of these. I'm 6 feet. I'm in the perfect boring height. I can't balance shit.
That's not what I'm saying.
I have perfect. It's not for me.
No, what I'm saying is I haven't seen a show like that. I was getting to my point, Daniel. So he has autism. He can't wait sometimes.
He can't. I get it.
I haven't seen a show like that since then, where it's a comedy show, but it's not stand-up. It's not like a sketch thing. You come out like a fucking maniac out front,
Just
and
like
it's you
unmedicated.
and your, what is he, producer, sound guy? What is he?
My sound guy. We call him Button Man.
Why Button Man?
Because he doesn't mix the sound. He just hits the buttons.
But why is it called Stamp Town?
So I went to a clown school in France for 2 years, which it is every Jewish grandmother's nightmare. And I was the first grandson, first one to potentially go to college. And I was
That's
like,
that
you know what?
and Magic Camp.
Oh, I did Club Med Magic Camp.
Did you really?
I did the circus version of it. Yeah, I was one of the tumblers. I made it to the tumbling performance.
Why did you want to go to? What made you want to go to clown camp?
I moved to LA at 18 to be a star, having never done anything at all.
You were just going to be a star.
I didn't even know what. I was just like, I'm gonna make it. But I like High School Musical. I was Mr. Sports, and then I started doing Second City teen improv classes in Chicago, and then I moved to LA.
You know what they say about improv? It's one letter short of improve.
Oh, and it's let me tell you, I've done about 10,000 of the worst improvised shows.
Yeah, but can I say something? Because I started improv too. I started, me and Dane and a couple other guys, Aldo Bennett, we had an improv sketch group. But our improv was pretty much the same improv. If something worked, we just did it the next time.
Yeah, forever. And then it eventually becomes material. But it's like, I wasn't really fitting in or jiving in with that squad. And I also was like 18 to 20 when I was doing it. So I'm just like, unfunny, really confident kid who's like, I got this, coming out making impossible moves to play with,
Right.
not really setting up anything clear. And I used to work for Sacha Baron Cohen's production company. He studied at this clown school, and I had no idea what it was. But while I was interviewing, my teacher, Philippe Gaulier, came to LA, and I was like, let me take this class so I have something to
What's
talk
his name?
about.
Philippe?
Philippe Gaulier.
Did you have to learn how to speak?
Thankfully, it's an English second language school. So
they
yeah.
okay, great.
International school, everyone speaks broken English in some
Okay.
up weird, awesome way.
Just in a twatty way.
Yeah, and look, and I come back being like, but I don't know this word in English, but
Did you come back with an accent?
oh yeah, dude, I'm
you
such
came
a
back
cunt.
like Madonna.
Oh, fully. When I go to the UK, I'm like, oh yeah, you are. I'm doing those ones.
Oh,
Like,
dude,
my
I
inflections are
assimilate.
changing.
Dude, I got married in Maui. Second day there, I was like, all right, brother.
Yeah. May peace be with you. Yeah, give him one of these. Yeah. It's a classic.
I assimilate all the time.
I find it fun. I love
You
to
should see me around black people.
and that's for the Patreon exclusive.
I'm much more energetic.
Look, I feel like I bring out the best side of myself. Not all those scrummy little whites that are bringing me down. All the
Well
time.
said.
Yeah.
Well said. Politically correct. I like it.
And that's what we like to be called. But yeah, this clown school was in a village called Étampes, La Village d'Étampes, and Étampes means stamp, and so I named Stamp Town after as like a little homage to it, and our logo is the castle from the town.
No shit.
Which I found out pretty rough history. It's like this, I mean, it's really like what looks like a rook piece from chess right now, like barely assembled. But I thought it was like this awesome castle, but it really was apparently one of the French kings married a Danish princess for a land grab and then just locked her in there, and it was her dungeon. So
that's great. That sounds fun.
Kind of awesome. Kind of the vibe we're trying to bring to the show, Yeah. Kind of like a big rapey vibe. Yeah.
Statutory.
Yeah, and don't bleep those out. I want YouTube to hear that.
Your logo was a fucking prison.
It's a dungeon. Oh my god, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. But yeah, I went to this school for 2 years and it changed my life. And like I had never.
What do you learn in clown school?
It's
honk
very,
honk.
The thing is, you're not far off. It's a
Can
very.
you show me like one of the first things you learned at clown school?
Oh god, how did
Hang on one second. Hang on 1 second.
One of these.
Oh, you could do it.
Whoa. Something like that. Yeah.
So what was the first thing? Tell me.
It's the first unit. It's called Le Jeu. God, all this French stuff. I'm sounding so fucking pretentious
You
right
are.
now. Yeah.
You sound like a big douche.
And I'm gonna lean into it. Yeah.
Lean into it.
Like, the thing is about us. It's basically it's called The Game, and it's like his whole foundation is like on 4 kind of concepts of like pleasure, fixed point, which is like just kind of like directional stillness, and just kind of how to be more dynamic as a performer, listening to the crowd, which this was a classic one that I did fall for with assimilating. He called it complicité, and I thought this was like this amazing French word, but it's just complicity in French. So I was like, yeah, you have to have complicité when you're performing, and everyone's like, what is that? And I'm like, oh, it's the connection to the crowd. But and then kind of just knowing when to give focus, and like when the audience is bored, knowing you can kind of just change at any moment and do anything else, and eventually you can make all of your bad choices your winning moves. And then I've kind of made a career off being like a bad I'm not a good comedian, but I think I'm a good performer, and I'm okay at being bad, and I'm bad a lot. So I got really good at being bad that everyone's like, oh, I guess this guy's like all right.
Right, but you had a fucking huge crowd. Like, dude, I mean, I saw the performance. It looks like 1,000 more people there, right? Is it 2,000?
That's like 400. But I'll take. Well, we've done some bigger gigs this year, which is cool, and it has been growing. And I don't understand it. Like, I think people who are coming to the shows have a sickness where they keep coming back and seeing
Because
it over.
it's not the same thing.
That's true.
And you come out like a ball of energy. You do crazy shit, and is this whole thing made up? Are you just going with?
I went 3 months ago for the first time, and me and my buddy left, and I go, I am never gonna miss one of these again. I had a show last night that I forgot that I booked a spot. I canceled my spot to come watch your show. It's my favorite show in the world.
Your fan is autistic Jews from Jersey.
It's the autistic.
Who went to magic camp.
our fan base, it's autistic Jews, and then the sports bros who were like, I could have played D1 quarterback. It's like it's that perfect crossover.
What is your fan base?
I think. Again, obviously, I'm a New York Jew who went to Chicago and then LA and have stayed in all the hot spots.
Yeah.
Trying to control the weather, control the media, the classics.
You have Jew lasers.
I do, yeah, and I'm using them for good. Using them for good, and yeah, I think it's a mixture of like sports bros, comedy nerds. I'm bisexual, and the gays really come out for me.
Oh, you're bisexual.
I am. After 10 p.m. if it furthers my career in the industry. Otherwise, I'm a pussy-loving, cold-blooded American.
Are you really bisexual?
Yeah.
So let's
get into it. Yeah, let's rock. As soon as I said it, I was like, I know we're gonna veer down this way as soon as we go.
Because here's the thing. Okay. Here's the thing. You go with a girl, right? You're with chicks, and then was your first guy in France?
No, it was actually in summer camp, classic Jewish sleepaway summer
That's
camp.
not gay. That's exploration.
Well, that's the thing. It was a lot of exploration.
Unless you're a counselor.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a lot of exploration, but we did the classic. As long as we don't kiss, it's not gay. So it was
true,
just kind
right?
of just hand and mouth stuff for a little bit. And
That's
then,
true, right?
That's how I've lived my life. I won't kiss.
That's how
Have you felt the stubble of a man? It's gross.
I've lived my life secretly like that. I think I'm bisexual.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm a bi icon. You'll
Danny
get booked
jerk
a
me off.
lot more.
Danny and Joe jerk me off after every show.
But that's just getting you prepped for the show.
Yes,
You gotta
that's what
get
I said.
ready.
All right, good. So you don't, when you're with guys, it's just a sex thing. It's not a.
I don't know. It's a mix. I think I've definitely had crushes and I've had some romantic feelings for men. I feel like
You
I
must
lean.
have crushed dick in France.
Look, I was fucking. I was in my exploratory clown phase.
Yeah.
I was taking people down the clown hole. I think I've been figuring it out as it's been going on,
Right.
and like. I think I lean more towards being with women because I'm more comfortable and I've had more experience that way.
Right.
I feel like I know how to eat pussy, but I don't know how to suck dick, and it's kind of how I boil it down. I have the sensitivity of a gay man eating pussy, but I suck like a straight guy fingering for the first time. Just jamming it, not really sure what to do, bragging to the boys, keeping it quiet.
Pretend it doesn't smell.
Yeah, exactly. Pushing it down, the classics. Yeah.
Well, it's I'm glad like we're at this place where people just don't care anymore. I have a bunch of bisexual friends, but it's just fun to me because you think there'd be a part where you're gonna pick a side.
It's the
Like, you know what I mean? Like where it's like, you know what? I did this. I'm cool with that, but I really want to do this.
a lot of days when I was coming to terms with it, coming with the terms of it, I kind of would pray sometimes that I would just land one way or another to know.
Right.
And there would be days where I'd wake up and I'd be like, all right, I'm gay. Here we go. And then I'd see, a beautiful woman walk down the street and I'd be like, damn, those hips though. Damn. But then I'd be like, but her outfit. I'm like, okay, hold on. Yeah. It's like keep going back and forth. And
I love that hat.
I love that
Wait a
hat,
minute.
girl. Where'd you get that from? It's like going from like, oh, you look good, but I think you could change this ensemble a little bit. and it kind of fluctuates. And I think eventually, I just had some older gays or bisexuals in my life who were like, hey, you don't actually have to choose,
Right.
And you can kind of live with that. And I'm like, oh, great, this uncertainty of never knowing, amazing. I can't wait to embrace that manic energy.
Did you hear that, Danny? You don't have to choose, kid.
Go on, come on to the table, give old
Yeah.
Papa a tug.
You can do magic again, Danny.
Yeah, and it disappears. Ooh.
But have you ever had a guy boyfriend?
I've had more flings. I've not had many deep partnerships because I've just been on the road for most of the last 10 years. So I've been more of a good time, not a long time.
Do you tell like girls that you're with that look, I go with guys too?
Yeah. I'm seeing somebody now. It's been like 4.5 months, and she knows.
She knows. She doesn't
Yeah.
care. Do you guys you have like this open relationship where
We're not. The farthest we've gone is she's like, I think it'd be cool to. She's like, I think it'd be hot to watch you make out with a guy. She's like, but I don't think I want to see you get fucked by another guy. And I was like, I get that, but I've
yeah,
been with
because then
other
you're gonna go
people.
tell her to do something. She's like, F you.
Yeah, no. I'm like, you can't give this to me.
Go make me some food.
Yeah.
You make some food, bitch.
Yeah, and but wear those velour pants that I love.
I just saw you on all fours screaming like a bitch.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where like I've had some partners in the past where it's like they're also I kind of dated mostly people who are in that space where it's like, hey,
Right.
we don't have to explain this to each other. We
Yeah.
kind of understand we have this
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
and so then in those areas we've had
Right.
more open fun, and it's fun to have a good time. But then after a while, it's like, okay, it's already hard enough having one partner to then add multiple people to the mix is a
Yeah.
nightmare.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends who are like big poly fucking lovers, and I'm like, the last thing I want to do is be somebody talking about my tertiary, quadrutiary partner, and it's a nightmare.
I don't even know what the fuck you just said.
Exactly, and it's like, and then you
Is
have
that
to,
French?
It's a complicité.
All right, let's get out of your fucking weird sex life. No, I mean, dude, look, I'm a fucking straight dude with a wife in menopause and a child. I'd give anything to fucking have somebody touch my dick. I don't care. I might go to that clown school just to get head.
Yeah, and they'd be like, baby, no, it's a clown technique. I'm developing my craft right now.
I got blown in a rape palace.
No. She was Danish, and she was royalty.
I only pantomimed a blowjob.
Yeah, I did come though, but our eyes were closed.
So you come back and you develop this thing. Here's the thing with this, what you're doing. did you work it out beforehand or did you just go and do it? Because it seems like you would have to just do it. It sucks. It's good. It's good. It sucks less.
Sucks harder.
And then
again.
it sucks hard again. Are we talking about your sex
That's
life
what I'm
again?
saying. We had to bring it right back. Yeah. And then he fingers like a straight guy.
And then you come all over everybody.
And then it's like, thank you. That was art. And they're like, okay, that's clowning.
So it seems like something you would have to just work through it to get to the end. And then once you got it, you can just keep adding to it.
Exactly.
Right?
It's the show started because I started off doing a double act with my comedy partner, this guy Viggo Venn. He's an amazing Norwegian clown. He won Britain's Got Talent last year, which is the funniest thing. He's rich and famous now. It's awesome.
Right. Okay.
And he and I would do this double act in like Lycra spandex suits, and we're doing physical comedy and props, and it's like nobody wants to hang out with these guys. But I was seeing all these like shitty stand-ups getting booked for all these gigs that I felt like we were definitely good enough to do, and we were, you know, the only people who would take us were these cabaret and variety and magic nights and like burlesque. There was this burlesque scene that we grew up in doing, like the Edinburgh Fringe and stuff. Yeah. And I just was like, at a certain point, I'm like, am I going to try and knock down these doors of everyone who doesn't want us, or should we just go do our own thing? And I know all these amazing, talented freaks who don't do conventional stand-up, I guess.
Well, because stand-ups, look at man, we're a snobby little bunch. Like I said, when we started improv back in Boston, and Boston at the time was a hot spot for stand-up.
Did you work with Ron Lynch back in the day?
No.
Yeah, no, he's old. In LA. He's a good, fun weirdo who's like a.
Well, me, Patrice, Billy, Gary Gulman.
Yeah.
But me and Dame were in an improv group, so we would show up and do sketches in improv, and then we'd do stand-up too. But they hated us.
Yeah.
Because we would come in and just take over the fucking show.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't stand-up. So people would when we first started, we got so much shit from the stand-up community because it wasn't stand-up. We were getting easy laughs.
Yeah.
And that's what they call easy.
Yeah.
Because when you're up there doing stand-up, and our community's snobby, so it's hard to break in with some of this. Did the comics?
For sure. And it's like, it's funny because there was a lot of comics who did embrace it. And especially, I kind of came up on the Australian, European, like more UK, like fringe and festival scene. So they have a bit more
of acceptance.
Yeah, they're more open
I
to
did
that.
comedy in Amsterdam, and I remember one of the comics, his whole bit was he would lie backwards, put a towel over his face, draw a mouth on his thing, and his whole act would be, it looked like the guy he'd have like eyes on his chin.
Yeah.
And this would be the mouth, and he would do his whole act like that, and he would murder.
Yeah.
And I would just sit off stage infuriated.
Like, no, dude, I'm not going to.
Because I got to go out after and be like, hey, what's up? This is my life.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't have fucking button eyes on my chin, you motherfucker.
So that is the exact guy I'm trying to book.
Right.
And try and put together a lineup of people like that. But I felt like that was more my speed, but in the same way that there is like, you know, the like the rite of passage or the snobbery in stand-up, there's the same thing in clown, and I do that shit. You know, I love this art form, and I talk so highly of this thing that I love. Then you see me go out there, and I'm like, my shirt's tucked into my underwear. I've given myself thrush 3 times from this costume because it's been so wet. I'm soaking wet for hours at a time. I'm doing horrible jokes, and I'm like, yeah, but that's high art right there. You know? So I'm doing the same shit as well, but I just like, you also have so many horrible clowns as you do stand-ups and improvisers. It's just then
you think, I feel like you've actually, by watching these clips and seeing your stuff, you've actually made it into something new though. And because there's energy in it, and because you're kind of making fun of yourself, and you also have your sound guy who, look, I do the bonfire with Big J Okerson.
Yeah.
And we have DJ Lou on the board.
It's awesome, isn't it?
And dude, we'll be talking, and all of a sudden a sound bed will come in. Like I was talking about something country, and then this country, you hear the horses and and then he'll say something, and he's a magician on the board, like Fred Norris on Stern.
Yeah,
there's people that just speak comedy through a sound, through other people's voices, through sound effects, through music, and they just know when to lay it in. And like DJ Lou is a master at it. Like the show would not be the same without this guy.
Absolutely not.
But like he couldn't get on stage and talk at all.
No.
Your guy is working with you as you're going.
So I have 2. So my main guy is my best friend, Johnny Woolley. He's a Canadian. He's a guy I met at clown school. He's my director. He's directed all the shows that I've made, including the double act. And you know, we write a lot of the jokes together, and we're best friends. We've spent, you know, this year's 10 years we've known each other, most of the last 10 years with each other than apart. And so we're in each other's brains. So we have this, you know, fucked up chemistry, the way that you guys do when you guys are playing. And so we like all the same stuff. He knows what I'm going for. We have a great dance with each other where we both think we're leading this, but like, we're just adding fuel to the fire and just pumping it up. And he doesn't perform so much. He is a great performer, but he's more been behind the scenes the last few years.
Right.
Whereas then my second guy is my buddy Jeremy. This guy Jeremy Elder, who's a great comedian as well, and he's in a sketch group. So he's a great performer, and I trust him as a writer and a performer, but he's one of, again, two people I would trust for a gig that really matters.
Right.
To be behind and be like, hey, you're in this invisible double act with me, and like I need you with me like this. And that's where all of your comedic timing comes out. And we're big music fans. We always say people say comedy is about timing. For us, I think it's just comedic rhythms. And that's maybe what this clown school teaches you, is by doing your complicité and like working. I feel like what I'm doing all the time is kind of like echolocating with the crowd, where you throw a little thing out there, you see how it lands, you kind of gauge where that tension is in your body of the room, and then just be like, how can I burst this? And what do I need to do to hit that tension? And whether that's with a sound effect or a physical movement or gag. And
stand-up is the
same thing.
Stand-up is tempo.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started, this old fucking black comic I had to drive around because I was his driver, not even the host. And he was telling me it's just music.
Yeah.
It's just tempo.
I mean, that's how we
and when
see
you
it.
find that tempo, like you know Dave Attell's tempo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know Louis C.K.'s tempo.
Cat Williams' tempo, Chris Rock's tempo.
You
It's
can-
the same. You know exactly
Once
what
you
it's gonna
get your
be.
tempo, they call it a voice or whatever. But
Yeah.
once you get your tempo, you can drop anything into that tempo, and
it works.
And you make people laugh with
That's exactly it.
I actually have a
That's
question.
exactly
With from seeing
Danny,
the show,
this is my show, and I know you're all. He's so excited that you're here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he couldn't stop talking. He literally was trying to kick Lynn Coplitz out of the studio. He was like,
Threw her out.
"Get her out!"
He threw her out
No, I'm
physically.
kidding,
He
I'm
threw her
kidding.
down the stairs.
Go ahead, Danny.
She's down at the bottom of the stairs right now.
What's your question, Danny?
how much of the sound guy, who's lead? I feel like sometimes it seems like the sound guy's leading more than you are, but I've just watched it a lot to the point where I'm not sure. How much is the sound guy leading?
Do you want to know
versus
the real answer or the answer we give to folks?
Can
I
we
want
do
both.
both?
Both.
I'll be the folks.
Yeah.
Give him the real answer. You know what? Switch that. Let him be the folks.
Yeah.
I want to be the real answer.
Hey man, we're just kind of figuring it out. Just kind of like figure it out.
That's the folks.
That's it. Yeah, just kind of
Right.
keep it there. For us, it's like we have a set list and we have a ton of jokes that the hour that I do with it, we have about 90 minutes of material. There is, I'd say 70% of it is locked down of like, we know when this is going to happen. And the other 30%, it's like whenever that arises, we don't know when it's going to happen. We know when this moment's going to come. So it keeps it fresh for us. But then me and Johnny are both idiots. I'm like, well, I'm leading this. I think I'm in charge. And he also goes, well, no, I'm leading this. I'm in charge. So you have two guys who love this. They both want this to work. They both think they're in charge. And so we have this kind of like overlapping where I'd say 70% of it's probably planned, 30 is probably improvised. But then other nights it'll switch, and not to, jack ourselves off camp
Well, you
style.
can,
but I
because
can because I'm
you can.
bisexual. Yeah. He's married to a girl, which sucks, but she's bi, so we're allowed to do it. and basically, yeah.
I want to be a sound guy on this thing.
It's a fucking hell of a gig.
I'm going to start doing this, Danny. You're my sound guy. You're going to jerk me off.
Yeah, well, that's
Joe, you're sucking me off.
and Zach, you could watch.
No, Zach, I don't.
No, you're not allowed to. Yeah.
I don't want Zach to just stare at me, jerking me off with not blinking. Is this what you like?
Yeah, it's. I think we've had one review that called it like clown jazz, and we kind of took it like that. As like, I mean, look, I'll take that. That makes it sound awesome,
Right.
and add some pretentious flavor to
But
it.
here's the thing with your show. You can't just walk into an open mic with, 10 people. Like a comic can just go in with 10 people and do our thing. Like if you go into like a shitty open mic one night, you have to have a crowd on this.
Well, it's funny you say that. One of the first times I ever did it was at an open mic at a place in LA called the Lyric Hyperion. This was maybe like 6 years ago. And I caused a fucking ruckus apparently this day because I went on first. I spilled some beer. I did a bad airplane joke. I did this Baja Men joke that I love. And everyone was moaning and groaning. And then afterwards, it set off this reaction on the mic where people were just like, we just can't let these like privileged white guys come in here.
Oh my God.
Because they thought I was real. And I was like, I went into a room full of stand-ups doing a stand-up character and not a single person knew I was joking. And I'm like, dude, I'm soaking wet in sink water. My fly's undone. I've got handcuffs and an ankle monitor on. There's toilet paper hanging out of my shoes. I'm like, come on, y'all. Let's like fucking wake
So they're
up.
that fucking stupid.
Yeah, and they were like, going like, we as a community need to decide once and for all what is and isn't comedy. And people were going back and forth. And then eventually towards the end, one guy was like, I'm sorry, does anyone know who that Zach guy is or the Jack guy is? And someone was like, yeah, he's right here. And I pop back out and he's like, brother, have you ever done comedy before? I was like, no, it's my first time. Like, do you have any notes? Like, I've got a show tomorrow night. I'd like really love your feedback. And then the last guy, there was like 6 people left. He set up a full tripod camera and he was like, so I was in the Marines. No applause, like waiting for everyone to like kind of give him one of these.
Yeah, why would LA people
I know.
applaud people fighting for our country?
Of course not. They would never. You're wrong. Read the room, brother.
Yeah,
They
they-
want you to suck and fuck and jack each other off.
Yeah,
That's
well,
clown.
well, you got the right to suck and fucking because of those Marines.
And I appreciate your service.
That's goddamn right.
That's that extra service. And
isn't that the craziest thing? These guys, these southern redneck all men. I'm going to fight so you can suck and fuck each other as much as you want.
absolutely. I want to have a parade about it. I want to go about town. I want to get my titties out. I want to go wild.
You have titties?
Look, well,
Okay.
I was on one of those shows 20 years ago, and I did have the worst tits in the crowd. But yeah, he was just like, on one hand, I'm really proud to fight for Jack's freedom to have said what he wanted. And on the other hand, I wish I could rub his face in the puddle of beer he spilled so he could feel what shame was. It was quiet, and then he went, so I'm single. And I just like could not believe it. And I'm like, dude, that is who I'm making fun of. Like, and I could not believe this. And I'll go and do open mics as Tucker when I'm developing new stuff, because if it sucks, awesome. It's like the worse it gets, the better. But the creation of that character, I've had like 450 walkouts, 460 walkouts throughout this process, and like it like really
They just don't get it.
or they don't like it, which is also totally fair.
Well, I tell you, we used to have a guy, what was his name, back in Boston. Now, Boston is blue collar.
Yeah.
And back when we were coming up, stand-up was stand-up. I mean, we were coming up, with Lenny Clark, Kevin Knox, Steve Sweeney, Don Gabb. I mean, these guys are still fucking the Mount Rushmore of comedy and still working.
Yeah.
Still had, we left because we were never going to ever make it past that. We had to get out of there because they were not giving up their spots to us.
Why would you?
And it was just crazy, funny, holy shit stand-ups. But they had a guy, what the fuck was his name? But he would go up crazy. And he had like he had all props. One of his final bits was a marshmallow gun where he had marshmallows. And he would shoot he had this bit and he'd shoot and he'd go crazy and he'd spill stuff and he'd shoot marshmallows. And then you had to go up after and do your stand-up, stepping in fucking marshmallows
Yeah.
and beer.
Yeah.
And it's like, you fucking piece,
Yeah.
you asshole.
Yeah.
Pick up your marshmallows.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he'd go, good night. And he would just put his thing up and they'd shut the lights out. He'd have him shut the light. And it was just his silhouette. And I remember me, Patrice, and Billy, and Dane one night, we were like, fuck. At the end of all our sets, we're all going to go, good night. And because it was just like, there is a thing where it's like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck you. We're going up there.
sucks.
We're going up there and just talking. And you're going up with a marshmallow gun.
Yeah.
You motherfucker.
Let me tell you, it would be a dream of mine. I've never performed. I say, like, when people ask, like, are you a stand-up? I'm like, well, I'll put it this way. I've never performed in jeans. And I wish I could just show up, look nice,
Right.
and not, bring a ton of shit. And I fully have a rubber chicken and a backup rubber chicken for this costume. It's a nightmare. I've got fake dynamite and fake pistols. I've got fake money that I have like $100 bills in here that are like my, kerchief type thing that this girl I'm seeing, I went and got her some soup the other day in Chinatown. And I went to pay for this soup with cash, and I pulled out fake money, not knowing. And then
And they took it because they're.
no, they ran it through the machine, and I was like, "That's weird." They're like, they're profiling me. I'm a beautiful white guy. What the hell? And
I'm bisexual.
and I'm bisexual, and I'm a Jew, and you're gonna do this to me? On my fucking city?
I have fucking 9 checks off the box.
Yeah, exactly. I'm taking it.
I fuck chicks. I fuck dudes.
I'm ready to. I'm willing to shave. I'll book. And they like it went through, and it was. I realized, oh my god, this was like fake money from the show that ended up in my wallet. And they went through this whole thing. They're screaming at me, and I had to be.
Didn't
like, no,
bother
no,
you. You didn't know because your face was on it.
Yeah. Well, I thought maybe they would honor a bisexual Jew and put him on the $20 bill. It was actually the $69 bill. and I thought they were yelling at me, and I was trying to be like, no, I'm like a comedian. It's a character. It's a prop. And I'm like, I have real money here, and I paid for it. But then I was late to get her this food, and she had to leave and couldn't eat it and got mad at me. And I was like, come on, this is like, when is this ever going to happen where you're dating a clown who pulls out fake money by accident? But that's the curse of this. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be able to not lug a suitcase. Like I dropped off a suitcase before I came here with a fucking puppet and fake dynamite with my buddy.
Let me tell you.
It's a nightmare.
I remember a friend of mine who's a magician. he called me up one time. He was in New York, and he's like, "Hey man, what are you doing?" I go, "I got to do my podcast. I have a set at the Cellar." "Hey, do you mind if I leave my case in your studio?" I was like, "What?" He goes, "I have to do stuff around the city, but I have my magic case."
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I do.
I do mind. I don't want this in here. I don't want this voodoo in
I
here.
don't know what the fuck you're gonna get a big case. You had to lug around with all this shit. It is a pain in the ass because if you forget your shit,
Yeah.
you're fucked.
The only stuff I take with me when I travel is I always have the suit that I wear, my costume is with me and my microphones because I bash them around and put them in my mouth and I'm like, I want to be respectful to the equipment of the venue, so I have my own stuff I take with me. But I have that. I have a Live Strong bracelet and a wedding ring, and like that travels with me. And if all of my clothes and everything else gets lost, I'm like, that's replaceable. But this costume, I gotta have this costume with me. Otherwise I'm fucked.
What is the character you do? How did you come up with this guy?
So my name's Zach Zucker. The character's called Jack Tucker. So a lot of really deep thought there.
It's what is that called? Kozumo's up?
Complicité.
Complicité.
It's a French thing called switching the letters of your name. But it sounds more like a real name than Zach Zucker. And then I would do a bit on it later where it's like, that's actually my stage name. My real name's Tony Baloney. Well, I'm Spanish. It's Antonio Balonio. But I'm trying to figure out who I am. But I was seeing these bad comics. And I did this open mic in Paris that's like the worst night in the world. It's like an English-speaking comedy night. And I was going out there just like asking everyone if they'd ever been to Paris and if you guys look at this Eiffel, can you believe this thing? Eiffel Tower? Yeah, it is an Eiffel. I can't see anything. It's great to be here. And kept like looking at my hand and looking at notes. And then I saw, I love Tim Heidecker. I love Greg Turkington who does Neil Hamburger. And I saw them live and I was like, oh, this is how you can apply this. And I'm like, let me find my version of this. And I love that cringe discomfort that's kind of in clown, that moment when it bombs and it sucks, like call it the flop or the shit. And it's like that's where we live, is in those moments. And so much of the show is like finding that tempo, cutting all the air out and then slamming it back down and then growing off of that.
Well, it's funny to me because everybody loves a clown. Everybody, look, when I go I've been overseas a bunch of times and you see people.
I feel like a lot of people hate clowns. That's like the biggest fear in the world.
Let me finish my point before you.
Who the fuck is this guy?
Danny, will you shut the fuck up?
You thought you were a fan, Danny.
We know you love him. I get it. Stop sticking up for him. I'm not trashing him. I have a point to make. My point is, when you go out, when you're on the street, when you're in Vegas, when you're in Europe, and you see somebody doing stuff on the streets, you always stop.
You have to.
You always stop and you
Is
watch.
he going to do the thing?
But even that stupid thing, you love it when they do it. When they do the rope or they're just standing there, you always are like fucking amazed with that. Even as a stand-up, I'm always like checked out. And I know that certain stand-ups are like fucking queer, but
it rocks.
I fucking
rocks.
dude, I love magic. People always put magic down. I'm like, yo, nuts.
You just haven't seen good magic and you're not opening your mind to it.
It's crazy that these other entertaining that guy that I had to follow in stupid Amsterdam.
Oh, the face on the eye and chin.
I still watched it the first night. Was like, all right, this is fucking pretty funny.
Yeah.
It just sucked that I had to go up after it.
Of course.
Without the bells and whistles, right? But if I'm just watching bells and whistles, if I'm watching people do something different, why would you not enjoy that? Like when he sent me your stuff, he's like, "Yeah, check this guy out," and he's done this before. He's a genius. I'm like, oh
God, yeah.
He's not. But I watched it. I couldn't stop watching it because I don't know what the fuck you're gonna do next. I don't know where you're going with it. Your sound guy is great. You guys are working in unison.
It's amazing,
which is nuts. But the one thing that I really appreciate, the crowd's loving it, and there's moments of oh shit where they're like, "What's happening?" And then you pull it back out of that, and you get them back into the goddamn show.
To me, again, I love talking about the performance and what goes into it behind it. But to me, I want to be pulling out the rug. I want the rhythm to feel like rug pull, kabuki curtain drop, walls fall off. Psych, we were here.
Wow, you are gay.
Just kidding, I'm gay as fuck. And we dash and a little wow,
that was fucking beautiful.
You know what I mean? Like I love that.
You just turned into Liza Minnelli.
She wouldn't go backwards hat. But it felt like I was getting my hair out, getting to the side, nails done, silhouette. Good night.
Rug out, kabuki curtain.
Yeah, okay.
Fuck, I want to do that. that.
But it's so fun. And for me, what I really believe is like been maybe I think is my strength and maybe the weakness where it like lends itself maybe to like a lack of preparation is like there's nothing more important than what the audience is laughing at. Who gives a fuck about your stupid ideas? What our teacher would say.
Yeah.
So if they like something, do it.
Yeah.
Do it forever and ever and ever and ever, and trust that you'll get back. If you have your material, you can go back to that later, and it's like that's your next launching point to go and find that next thing. And some nights it sucks. Like I fucking bomb. And
have you bombed a whole show?
Yes. When I was especially when I was developing this.
Now that you're going
Yeah.
out there, people are there to see you.
Yeah.
And have you ever just taken a hot one?
Yeah.
And what do you do then?
I tried myself.
Can you go look, a comic? We can always go to the crowd and be like, go fuck yourself, blah 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 blah
Yeah,
blah,
but
and then
then-
get some type of crowd work clip, and then we become famous on YouTube, and then we sell out every fucking club in the world,
and then you get a
and then
$30 million
Netflix give you a
crowds-
special.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? We have the out of reality.
Yeah.
Do you have that out?
It's the worst thing that I've done a few times is, tell them that it's going so poorly and you torpedo that. Or I've only maybe once or twice been like, this is a character, right? And they're like, yeah, we know. This just like
shit.
sucks. And I'm like, oh man, this is, I've not done that one in a while, but like,
Come out of character.
yeah, I
You
mean,
became Zach.
I'm barely in character. I'm having a fucking blast. Like,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not like so into my fucking mic. Again, if the funniest thing is to get out of the character right now, I'll do that. But then if it's funny to get out of it, then there's maybe an even funnier way to stay in it, as I try to remember. But of course, I don't want to be some fucking loser. I want them to think I'm cool as hell and and like this thing. But what we do is I have this thing called the Paris ending, because the first time I did Tucker in Paris, it was to 10 people in a crowd, no sound effects, no voice. I just had the costume. Nobody laughed the whole time. And what I did was I just packed up in silence at the end. I walked out the venue and I was in the hallway where they could still hear me. And I faked a phone call with my mother in character, being like, yeah, Mom, yeah, it went great tonight. Like they were loving it. No, yeah. You can't hear them now, but they're laughing. The acoustics in here are great. You can't hear anybody laughing. What? It's terminal. Okay, okay, I'll be on the next flight. And then it begged her to send me money because I couldn't get home, and just made this really uncomfortable feeling where my friends were cracking up and no one else was liking it. And I say once a year or once a season, I get one Paris ending where if the crowd's not into it, which happened in September this year, it was my 4th off-Broadway run of the show this year.
Where?
We did Soho Playhouse a few times, and we did the Vineyard Theater. I was supposed to be the Connolly, and then we got shut down by the Catholic Church because they own the Connolly.
Because you're bisexual.
Because I'm bisexual and I'm a Jew.
Right.
And I called Jesus the gayest man alive because he has 6 fuckable holes. I was like, tell me that guy's not the son of God.
Hey, we're very close to Christmas right now.
Yeah.
Think
about it.
Mom, I'm sorry.
He's a twink. He's in a fucking party in Bushwick, stapled to some fucking wooden cross.
So funny. I'm still adding up the holes.
Yeah. Wrist, foot, mouth, butt.
Isn't foot one?
Well, he's got 2 ankles.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna fuck the foot, wouldn't you just fuck the one big hole?
Well, that's the thing, is you could put them together. Get yourself a little thing like
That's
this.
7 holes.
Yeah, you could kind of wedge it in there. He's probably some.
Oh, in the wound.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't count the sword wound.
Yeah, you can get him there as well.
We're getting-
The Judas spot.
This is definitely not getting on YouTube.
Please. Just bleeps all across. But yeah, it was just because it was a whole thing. So then the Vineyard took us on short notice, and it was. I just come from doing 3 weeks of sold out shows in London. Everyone's loving it. Did 750 seats, 8 nights in Edinburgh. Everyone's loving it. I'm literally flying out of the venue every night in a fucking harness with sparklers, like cold flames going up. And I came back to the Vineyard. It was a Friday we opened. Saturday was night 2. Sunday was night 3. And, it was like 120 people in there. So it's already a, 600 person difference. And then Sunday we had like 40, 50 people in the crowd. And I was like, hey, you know what? 50-person crowd. I've done these before. Let's give them the fucking show of a lifetime. I'm going to give them everything. And I was giving it, and they just gave me nothing. And I was like, you know what? Fuck you guys. It's usually never your fault, but tonight, this one is on you.
Oh, you said that.
And I just then did a Paris ending where I have these like 2 Spider-Man masks. Oops, I just unplugged something. I have these 2 Spider-Man masks that are just like hanging out of the back of my pocket the whole show, and I never really address it, but it's just like it's part of the costume, part of the lore. Maybe Jack's Spider-Man.
Right.
Maybe he's Times Square Spider-Man. We don't know.
Right.
But I then put the mask on and I pulled the mic stand out like a cane, and I was just like walking around kind of like packing up and muttering to myself, and eventually we turned the house lights up, and my buddy came out dressed as Jesus on roller skates, and he was like, everyone out, get the fuck out. And I was up in the rafters with like the mic stand like this, kind of like scoping people, kind of just like grunting, and we were just like, let's just get fucking, I was like, I think I even said, if Marina Abramovich did this, you would call this performance art, but because I'm doing this, you guys are uncomfortable right now.
Right.
But we just we leaned into this thing, and we're like, let's see if we can find anything from this and just get exploratory. But it can definitely be uncomfortable. It's
You did this
like,
on Martha's Vineyard?
yeah. and we gave it to her. Yeah, we're just trying to find
It's
stuff.
such a funny, it's such a highfalutin Irish Catholic Boston vacation spot.
Coming there doing some fucking fucked up, stuff like. And I like to shake it up, and it's like I'm not trying to. I have no political agenda. I'm not trying to do anything other than make people laugh.
Right.
And if I'm going to give you absolutely everything and you're still not with me, I feel like, as a bisexual Jew, it's my God-given right to be able to fuck around and just have some fun and be like, all right, well, this is what you're giving me, I'm going to give this back to you. And it's like, it doesn't feel fun, does it? It's not nice.
So they were giving you...
Nothing. But the people who stayed and who had seen the show before, saw that show, it's like, that's your favorite show that you see. Because I cannot believe.
Did people walk out of that show?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
really?
There was one guy that was asleep. An old man was asleep for 45 minutes in the front row. And I was like talking to... that was one funny part. I was talking to him for like 8 minutes, and he just having a one-way conversation with a guy who's fully asleep. We're blasting loud sound effects too, and did not budge. And then the end, clapped and the show was over, and then just left.
Well, the best part about being a stand-up in those situations, I can just leave.
Yeah.
But... you have to pack up.
I know. So many props. I got like snakes in a can. I got like 7 remote
And then out there, people don't know this. They don't have taxis. You have to take a shared van.
Yeah.
On the island, you don't know this, you have to call a taxi. It's a shared van.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to share a van
with all of my stinky props.
with your stinky props and probably people that were at the show.
Oh, yeah. It's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare. And usually I say hi to everyone afterwards. I'll shake their hands. We'll try and sell some merch. And that show, I'm like, let's just put the merch away. We're not going to sell anything tonight. I don't want them to know how they can find me. I don't want them to find me through my Venmo and find my phone number and say something to me, But
here's the thing about your stuff, dude, is that you can't have, like, as a stand-up, you can have an off night. You can go up in different moods.
Yeah.
You don't have to be that. Like, I don't have to be. I have energy, but I don't have to have energy. If I go up, blah blah blah, I can switch it up. Whatever. I can actually sit down if I wanted to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I was feeling. But you have to give it 150%.
Constantly.
Like, you can't go out and not fucking perform.
No.
Like, you have to go out. How do you pump yourself up?
I really just like, I mean, this sounds gay as hell, but it's okay because I'm allowed to be. I love it. I love to perform. I love to be on stage. When I was at this clown school doing like this vaudevillian performance, like that slapstick farce fun, moving around, like
Wasn't gay until you did that.
moving around.
Sounded really
stuff.
cool.
Yeah.
And then you did that.
And then I made it gay as hell. And then it became cool. Well, it's in. It's not cool, but it's in. Or out, or in and out. And something like this.
Now it's gay again.
And now it's gay again. Yeah. Pull it back out. I'm straight. In. Ooh, I'm gay. Yeah.
And then lick it.
Yeah.
You're not gay.
Something like this. But again, I will if it's after 10 p.m. and it'll help my career. I'm in the back of the Comedy Cellar. Anything can happen tonight. Yeah, it's I love to do it, and I think of again when I teach clown, there's
You teach it?
I do. I teach
All
clown.
right, can you teach me something?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so close your eyes.
Are you gonna fucking
Open your mouth. Do you feel that? Do you feel the complicité?
seriously, dude?
I have a friend who's took your
Andy,
class.
you're just yapping. It's not your show.
I thought the D stood for Danny. I thought it was, you know what, Danny?
All right, go ahead. I'm so excited.
I have a
Go ahead,
friend
Danny.
that took the class last week or whenever it was and said that some people cried on the first day.
Yeah.
What?
Because it forces you to kind of face your shit. Like, because in stand-up, it's like, if we don't like you, it's your material. In clown, if we don't like you, it's like, because you suck. And it's the version of yourself, again, to get wanky about it, it's like, it's the version you're bringing yourself sucks, and we hate that. And there's a better version you're not showing. And if you want this thing to work, you have to show all of that, all the bad shit, and love it, and roll around in your own shit and share that with us. Otherwise, we're gonna say, fuck you, you're wasting my time. Like, I think maybe one of the things I've learned from my teacher 10 years later from this is like, there's all these different like tricks to give yourself the brain disease to be able to keep going. And
Like what?
Like, it's never that the clown's wrong or bad. They're just not lucky today. But this next one's gonna work. And it's like this never ending spirit that like no matter what, it's going to work out. And you have to just like keep going and know that any moment it could work. And that if you're down, the only way you can go is up. Unless you stay down. But if you're down eventually long enough, you will come up again.
Right.
Unless you're really down there. Then you might be down there for a while. But you keep finding these tricks to just keep going and just like
I think stand-ups are like that too. Like when you're
course.
bombing, you're always trying to find a way out of the bomb.
Of course, and the best ones all share this. It's the same thing that people love with Robin Williams or Mr. Bean or Steve Martin or Steve Carell or any of these people in that way. It's like you want to see people just keep going for it, and I think eventually when you hit that place of like uninhibited flow or improvising or whatever this connection is.
Right.
It's like we're all in that same spot. It's just how does that look? And for me, mine's a little razzle dazzle.
But like, if I was going to take your clown course, right?
Yeah.
What would be one of the things that you'd teach me to do? Like, is there something I can do right now? Like a physical thing? Like you would be like, try this.
I give a lot of like impossible tasks because you want to see people try stuff or like
We're
things.
gonna make Danny a headliner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fuck you, Danny. You brought me here. You're done, dog. I think it's like you give them impossible tasks or you give them situations where they're gonna look stupid or put yourself in the shit. So like one game that we would do at school is Philippe would be like, there's this new washing machine and you have to be this washing machine and demonstrate how this is going to work. And it's like, be a washing machine and convince me right now you are a washing machine. But you have prestige because there's investors in the room and we need this to go well. So you'd be like, all right, start to finish, be a washing machine. And you have 9 people doing different versions of this and there's no right or wrong answer. It's just like, are you having fun doing the thing you're doing? And are you listening to how that's landing?
It sounds gay as fuck.
It sucks.
I mean,
it's a nightmare.
It sounds so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
If I was in there and you said be a washing machine, I would be like, no.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be Bob, because I would be so.
But then that could work because it's about saying no or saying fuck you and just doing what you want. So if that's what
All right,
pushes
let
you
me try to be a washing machine.
yeah, be a washing machine.
A fancy washing machine.
Yeah. And remember, there's investors here, and we're trying
What are the investors doing though?
looking to which washing machine to put money into.
All right, you be a washing machine and I'll be a washing machine, because they're looking at you too.
Well, I'm facilitating.
I'm a competitive washing machine.
Yeah.
I can't. If I have no goals, I can't be the best washing machine. If I'm the only washing machine, then I have nothing to try to beat. So I need another washing machine.
So then this is what I would.
Danny, come over here and be a washing machine. Danny, come over here.
If this was the class,
This is Danny's dream, by the way. This is Danny's dream. Danny, get over here.
if this was the class, I'd start playing some triumphant music underneath you and dim the lights a little bit and give you the moment to talk about how it means to be this.
All my
washing
producers
machine.
are comedians. They don't know any skills. All right, Danny. All right, let's move this over here.
Let's go.
Danny. Okay, crouch down. What washing machines do. We're not a stackable. Danny. Danny, you're fired. I will not buy your washing machine. I want nothing to do with your washing machine. Your washing machine is broken. You got my floor wet. My clothes aren't washed. And they smell like fucking peanut butter. I do.
See, that was perfect. That was perfect because then to see also your reaction to that, and then it's like this is a 2-person clown number right here. One guy's on a completely different page than the rest of them.
Yeah.
and he ruins the other guy's thing. There you go. It's perfect.
And you ruined my W.
Yeah, that was perfect.
He literally.
Yeah, you got to take a huge risk that will probably suck.
Danny, I want you to leave.
It's got to be a choice that could lose your job.
I hope this affects your career.
This is the clip right here.
I hope. Let me tell you something, Danny.
And look how
Was
funny
that your water?
No, that was yours.
You're fired. You better take his class because you're gonna be you're a clown right now.
Yeah.
Your stand-up career is done.
That's awesome.
This cocksucker.
And-
And
and
I had a good fucking washing machine I was gonna do.
But you gotta beat that. You gotta beat it now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be the washing machine. Your washing machine was better than my washing machine because your washing machine got laughs. I didn't know we were fucking going all out as a washing machine. I had fucking 2 waters here. I would have done that.
coffee, you
But
could've
your
gone-
washing machine's broken. Your washing machine shot water out of the top, which is a shit washing machine. There's people here to buy our washing machines, and they're not gonna buy yours now, and they're not even gonna know to buy mine because they left because your washing machine went fucking nuts. My washing machine was stable like this, and I had fancy buttons on top, and I was gray, not white. I was a gray, fancy new Whirlpool washing machine, and I was gonna do this. I was a front end loader, and you had steam, and I had steam. At one point, I was gonna go, and I was gonna steam the clothes, so you don't have to iron them. And your shit was from 1965, just an old white one that fucking white trash meth heads have, and you spill water all over shit. So you're fired, Danny. This is your last YKWD. And it's your fault, you fucking gay clown.
That's
Joe,
it.
take over. And you're a dryer. Don't move.
Don't fucking move.
I can't drink my drink.
That's awesome. See, that I would book that in a heartbeat. That was a comedy masterclass. That's a 2-person clown masterclass right there.
Well, because I have a je ne sais
Complicité.
quoi aujourd'hui. And I'm bisexual too.
Yeah, but-
Danny, come suck me off.
And this time, you can keep your eyes open.
And I'll kiss you.
Yeah, I'll kiss you if you want, but it's gonna be dry, like the dryer.
Well, it's funny because
That's awesome.
that
That was awesome. That was I mean, that was like that's it.
You know, Danny, you just made his life. That was like performing a coin trick in front of fucking
David Copper.
Blaine.
Yeah.
David. Oh my God, Danny.
Yeah, I mean, but that's like truly it. It's like we use words idiot and stupid, bizarre, and it's like the idiot has to love their idea so hard, and to see that laughter with all that, knowing the concept,
retarded.
Yeah, big time. It's awesome. It's
you
perfect.
can make him laugh with tinfoil.
Oh, then there you go. Then you, my friend, you've employed a clown.
Yeah, Danny's not a comic; he's a clown.
Yeah,
Danny the Clown. You give him a new nickname. I bet every week he's gonna come in here fucking fall.
yeah. I mean, that's some of the best work we've ever done, are just pratfalls.
Ah.
Just slipping. My buddy Dylan, my best friend Dylan, spilled 160 pounds worth of beers at the Fringe. It was, I think, 18 beers across our buddy's podcast that I was a guest in, and we ruined the floors, and they had to rip up the floors and replaster and paint them.
Oh.
But it was the funniest physical comedy I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And it's like that. When he did it the first time, I was like, well, he can't not come back the second
You know
time.
who reminds me, like, who does something different that's weird and uncomfortable and people get freaked out by it, is Rick Glassman.
Yeah.
Who I love. You know, I met him on a whim. Somebody was like, he called me, he was in town. I did a podcast at his fucking hotel room. It was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I had to take my shoes off. He was weird, but he does that. You always kind of doing it. You got to go with him.
Yeah.
If you try to pull him to the podcast side or the regular side, even when he comes on my show, he kind of just takes over. And if you just go with it, you have a lot of fun and stupid, silly shit happens.
That's it. I mean,
And if you fight it, it gets uncomfortable for you.
yeah,
Never for him.
No, because there's nothing to be uncomfortable about. He's living the fucking dream right
doing
there.
his thing.
I mean, that's it. Usually when we're guests on stuff, it's like we have a reputation, I think, for being the bad boys, or it's like, hey, it's gonna get fucked up. Something is gonna go wrong.
Right.
When you invite us into your space. And I love that. And I'm never trying to do that. But it's just like, if the opportunity presents itself, I'm gonna have to do this.
Right.
Why would I not do this? Why would I not encourage this to happen? This is awesome to see. Seeing the paper slowly melting and seeing the notes bleed on each other is perfect. That's exactly what I wanted.
You got a frame phrase, slow-mo on my face when you spilled water.
Oh,
And
God.
I at first I thought you were drooling. And I was like, oh God, he broke.
Yeah.
And he's drooling out of his mouth.
He's drooling out his mouth and spinning around in circles.
The autistic kid panicked and went, oh, and it just came out.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that. I love people who come on and bring that energy, or they have something where it's like, hey, this is like a force of nature, presence, persona, character, whatever it is. And no matter what you do, it's like it just gets put into that, like, well, I'm gonna keep on doing this thing then. Like there's nothing you can do to stop it or beat it.
What's your favorite part of your act? that you know you're gonna do that you're getting to? That is gonna get like this is gonna kill. This usually kills. Is it the printer? Danny's a printer now.
He's a print. Yeah, and the printer's wet.
Danny just printed out. Don't print out new stuff, you pussy. That's not that's not clown art.
No. Unless you print it out and it comes over soaking wet, I don't want it.
You understand? The funny part is me trying to read the questions off of this fucking wet piece of toilet paper you jackass. If you hand me a fresh question note, you have no clown in you.
You are double fired. You are not allowed. You are black. This is awesome. This is
oh, this is a nightmare.
That's incredible.
Oh God. I feel like I'm taking.
It's like it's like a tattoo.
I feel like I'm taking Danny's underwear off. There we go. That's nice.
And that's nice right there.
I'd take that here.
I didn't know you were bisexual.
I want you to take them. Yes, you did. So does my wife.
She knows about the trips.
Oh my God.
She knows why I'm out late I'm doing comedy.
She knows why I stop at a truck stop on the way home every night.
No, baby, I promise it was the tour manager who took me there. Favorite thing. I
wish I was bisexual. Here's why. Because you have it made. Because at any point you can just cook up with somebody.
Rocks.
You know what I mean? Like, first of all, I'm married, so it's just a dungeon. I've made a decision to take my dick off the market because of some fucking law or some fucking religious code back in the day where you find somebody you love. And I love my wife so much. I love her. And if her thing is, look, you can't have sex with anybody else, I will shut it down. The engine is shut, and I am okay with that. I am okay with never, ever having sex again. I'm okay with making hot chicks laugh and do podcasts and have people, oh, you're so funny.
Are you sure?
And I will never,
okay?
ever. I'm fine with it. I am fine with it. I am fine with it. Never showing my penis to a beautiful young girl again. I will never do it because I love my wife.
Fellas, I think he's broken.
Oh, my God. Where was I?
Yeah. You don't want to look down.
I just have a rod.
Yeah, it's absolutely rock hard
but
right now.
It is like it's like, wow, what a fucking thing to just be able to go with anybody.
But it's also, I then never know, like I'm a pretty flirty person and I never know if then people are trying to be my friend or if they're trying to hook up with me, and it's another nightmare position to be in because you misconstrue every interaction.
Yeah, and it's like you don't know, like I knew that someday I would be married with a kid. Yeah. I wanted a family. I never really had that family thing, so I knew that was my goal.
Yeah.
To try to do that, right? That was I like that. Like I sit home at night, my wife's over there, my kid's downstairs, I'm in the house, and like other comics, if you have a wife and kid and you fucking you quit, you gave up. No, and I understand it because
the incels who never get laid.
If you get married, you never get laid. Yeah. But to be really successful in this business, you have to sacrifice your family.
Everything.
You have to sacrifice it all. You cannot, if you have to sacrifice it. Very rarely does somebody get the fame having a family. And somewhere along that line, go through the list of them, name them. They divorced that one and got a new one. Or they fucking found it after. Or they're never around their kids. They're never home.
Yeah.
They're just, they're doing this while they're there. And then they come back years later. Or they're, you know what I mean? They just, and, guys like me who I chose family. I chose family instead of fame. Mm-hmm. Because I never had family. And fame to me is some fucking thing that, yeah, it would be great. But the sacrifice to get there, the phoniness I'd have to be, and the pain I would have to endure to get there. Because I was there most of my career. Comedy, that was it. I woke up. Where's my audition or where's my set?
Yeah.
I want to hook up with chicks late night, hang out all night, bust balls. And I lived that life for a long fucking time. And I just wanted success.
Yeah.
I just wanted that. And I was right there. But I always got pulled back to fucking, I can be a fucking, I don't know. I want that. I love that. I love that. I never had. I could have it.
Yeah.
So it was like, all right, I'm going to pull back. Now, look, I'm successful as shit. I think there's a lot of guys who have families and homes and successful careers. If you're doing what you love and you're providing, you made it.
You did it.
You fucking made it.
Yeah.
But people always have that other thing where they're selling out arenas and they're multimillionaires and they're driving in the car. There's a lot you have to do to get there. And I just, at my point, I was like, I don't want to go for that, right? I want to go for this. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I was about to lose it all. I was about to lose the one to go for that. And I chose to keep the one and try to make that work. And it did in my favor for where I'm at. So I feel, but it is like you're trying to make it now, dude. You're trying to become a star, right? And
it's tough.
How are you? If you have a family at home, if you have a girlfriend at home or a kid at home, how are you going to go on the road for fucking all year long? How are you going to just blow that off?
Yeah, it's something that I've thought about more because I'm like, this isn't a nuanced take at all, but like, this industry sucks. It's a nightmare. I love to perform and I love to do what I do and I love my friends. And like for me, as someone who never imagined, like I never didn't think about having a family, but it was never the thing that I was aiming for. Like the way you speak so passionately about it, it's like, well, yeah, this is a man who wants, like you won, like you said, you got what you want and you're doing everything that you're doing and you've nailed it. And I think I aspire to achieve that same feeling, whatever that means. I still don't fully know. I've been lucky that, I've just booked my first movie and movie roles.
What's the movie?
Well, I had a movie. I had a movie come out on Thanksgiving.
You're sick now because Danny's sick, and then he spilled all his fucking stupid washing machine water all over you.
Now I'm sick,
and now you're gonna die.
Yeah, it's awful.
You have Danny AIDS.
Yeah,
there you go.
It's fucking.
So
brutal.
I hope your fucking class worked out. Okay.
It was worth it. It was worth it for this.
I hope you caught autism too. I hope
got-
your eyebrows get big and you don't blink.
You think I'm a clown and I don't have it already?
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
My first movie I did it's called Sweethearts. It's on Max.
What is it?
It's like a rom-com, new age rom-com funny movie. And
who do you play? The romantic comedy?
no, I'm the lead guy's college roommate. I was playing 19. You shave me, put some some makeup on, and give me a puka shell necklace, and give me the fingers, and I'm a teenager again.
Right. Yeah.
I'm 13 years in now, and this year, I'm very thankful. I did 4 different projects this year, which will hopefully come out in the next 5 years or whatever.
What do you mean you did 4 different movies?
4 different movies this year.
Wow, that's crazy.
4 varying scales of legitimacy and projects, but the last one I did, which I'm so excited about, shot in Chicago in October, and that was the first project I ever booked off of an audition in 13 years. And earlier that week, funny enough, with my manager, I was like, "Hey man, be real with me. Do I suck at this?" Like,
you did the "Do I got it"?
Yeah, I was like, "Do I got
That's
this
such
shit?"
a queer question to ask.
For real.
We've all done it, dude.
Yeah.
I did it with my acting teacher.
Yeah.
Years ago in Boston. I took his class, and I said, "Hey, I want to take you out to dinner." I took him to dinner at La Familia Giorgio's where I work.
Okay.
I told
You
the
are
people-
bisexual.
It's a mob-owned place. So I remember I said, "I'm bringing my teacher," and they set us up. They gave us all these meals. They hooked me up. My friend Steven Giorgio came over. Anything, you got it. You know what I mean?
Got you. I love this guy.
The
He's a great
best.
guy.
And then at the dinner, I remember looking over. I go, "Let me ask you, do I got it?"
He's
He
like,
went-
"Get me another round of dessert."
He went, "Yeah, dude." He was like, "Yeah, I guess you got it. You can eat that piccata."
Let me get a little bite of that right there.
Yeah, looking back on it, it's such a silly thing because you can never ask that question because if you don't know you got it,
Yeah.
then how the fuck are they gonna know?
That's my biggest thing is when, sometimes people are like, "Oh, you guys are like up yourselves a bit." And it's like, well, if I don't think this is the coolest shit in the world, then nobody will.
What is a manager gonna tell you? You don't?
Yeah, I know.
You know what I
right?
mean?
Like, I don't know, buddy.
Their job is to lie to you. Managers' jobs are to lie to your face, to make sure your self-esteem and your confidence is where it needs to be.
To maybe go and book that thing.
So maybe you'll get that
Yeah.
thing. Their thing is like, I like what you do, and I'm going to build you up as much as I can to everybody. I'm going to build anybody I meet. I'm selling you.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say, and when dude, you're the best. You got this, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. So you can never ask them because you'll never get an honest answer.
Maybe this is a good question for you then, because
You don't have it.
I don't have it. That's me. Do I got it? That my eyes start taking my shirt off. I think to me, I think this year, I mean, again, I've been performing on the scene for 10 years, and I've always believed we were doing awesome stuff. And I do in my heart, our ethos has always been like, if the show is good and the product is good, something will come and you just got to fucking keep on going. But I think I've struggled where I'm very wary of any of that smoke. Like I'm the first one to hate myself and everything that I do and all the stuff that we do, of course.
Yeah.
And
that's a sign of funny to me.
Yeah, you have
if
to.
If you don't come off stage feeling guilty, Colin Quinn said that to me. If you don't come off stage feeling guilty, you're not a comic.
Yeah.
You should walk off and go, fuck, that didn't.
And to me, it's like, if every show is not the best fucking show I've ever done, then like I let you down.
Yeah. And
I'm a dog piece of shit, and I hate. I should die.
Yeah, that's funny.
Exactly. And I think that drives you. And like, what I've struggled then to accept is also, I've not made it by any ways. I've done a lot of cool stuff, and I think it's going up. But I have a hard time then seeing that within that, or acknowledging that there is cool stuff happening. And keeping that level-headedness where I would never think that anyone would try to get something from me, but because I run a show that people like, people do see me as a guy they can get something from. But I'm like, yo, I'm the guy who's like forgets to pay his taxes allegedly, and like can't cut that out. Yeah. And like, I'll like wear my underwear inside out because I forgot to like wash my shit still while I'm on the road, or
you need my washing machine.
Please. It was gonna steam my underwear for me.
Yeah, it does.
And so I think I'm struggling in this moment to accept that to some people I am this thing that's working, but to myself I'm like, there's no fucking way. I'm not even close.
You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to do because I've been doing this 30 years. I forgot to enjoy my time. Mm-hmm. I forgot to enjoy those moments. I was always worried about the next moment.
Yeah.
I was always worried about the next thing. Trying to get there, wherever there was.
Yeah, and I'm like,
the one thing that like I think about now, I really I think about like doing the show with Jay. I really just try to enjoy being around my friend Jay. I try to enjoy these podcasts I do. I really want to enjoy like this podcast. I try to enjoy like the people I have on. And have these moments where I'm just like, that was fun. That was great. I love after the show, me and Danny was like, that was good. That was fun. I love that these guys enjoy it and stuff like that. It's like, I didn't do that a lot of my young career because I was so worried about getting there.
Yeah.
And I never knew where the fuck there was. And here is not there.
Yeah.
And I had no choice about here. This was my fucking path, man.
Yeah.
And I look at other people and I'm like, wow, look what he's doing. All the things and all the money and all the things. But it's all relative, dude. It's like, your roof does the same shit my roof does, dude.
Yeah.
It's just like what's inside that house.
It touches you while you sleep.
It molests me while I sleep, yes.
It's all about having relatives in the business. Got it.
It's all about being molested.
Yeah. And then putting that into a one-person show.
Oh, my God. Would I love to do that.
God.
Called Molested.
Yeah. It's a New York Times critics
like the
pick.
vagina monologues where it's just a bunch of comics talking about their molestation.
God, and they're all making it up too. It's an offensive play.
We did that one night at the cellar. We all went around the table and told each other our molestation stories.
Summer camp, here we go.
We did. Oh my God.
Yeah.
We did that. Me, Keith, Patrice.
Everyone going through there.
I think Burr was there. Norton was there. Norton, of course, had one.
Yeah.
The owner of the Comedy Cellar had one, which was hilarious. It was at Jewish camp. I think it was at Jewish camp.
Yeah.
It was very funny.
Yeah.
There's nothing funnier than a molestation story.
And especially when you all know it too. It's summer camp.
Yeah.
In between arts and crafts and gymnastics.
Yeah, it's just some weird thing that happened. Patrice was the funniest. Patrice is that he was at a car wash and he was washing the cars and he had sweatpants on with no underwear. And as he was washing the cars, he got a hard on because he was just a young kid and his dick and sweatpants gets touching the car with the soap and shit. And the guy got out of the car and walked up to him and he was like, yo, grabbed his dick. He's like, what's this? He's like, yo, what you got here, son?
Oh, just cranked him out on the car.
And he wound up telling people and they fucking called him a pedophile. And the guy came back like a week later and beat the shit out of Patrice.
No.
Such a great molestation story.
That's a classic. You don't get good ones like that anymore.
A car wash.
Fucking hell. Yeah, I mean, Yeah, it would. I don't even know where we were before it, but
I don't know.
But it's
now you're thinking about your molestation.
yeah. I went back there and I was like, oh my god.
But I'm just saying, like, I think that it's great that, look, man, you're doing this thing, you're creating something, you're with your friends, you're having a good time, and it's something different. And dude, I loved it. Danny told me about it. I was like, all right, let me see this shit. Because Danny throws around the word genius. You know what I mean? Genius
He's
all
throwing
the
it to
time.
everybody.
But I got to be honest, a lot of the times he's right. Danny knows funny. And when I watched the clip, it starts out, I was like, oh, this guy's, you're walking out, you fall, you do some weird shit. But then all of a sudden you start building and building and building. And then the guy kicks in and all of a sudden this stuff starts happening and the crowd's into it.
Was it did he show you the David Cross set, the Central Park one?
Yeah, it was the David Cross.
Yeah. That was a dream. That one was to a couple thousand people. Though you're right.
Yeah, it was thousands.
Yeah, that was like 3,000 people.
Yeah, and those aren't your fans.
No, those are all David Cross fans.
So
Yeah.
in order to get those people over was pretty wild.
Again, David has been, he's someone who is a guiding light to me where, he said, he's someone who like stands up, I believe, for artistic integrity and just the art form and comedy constantly, every step of the way.
Didn't they do comics of comedy or something like that? I think they've always. Here's the problem with alternative comedians: you're doing stand up.
To me, it's all performance.
You're doing stand up, dude, and what I do is no different than what you do. You're doing some other shit. I'm doing this shit.
It's just
We're all trying to make people laugh.
That's
dude.
it.
And I know that I might have fucked a stool for a little while. I know that's not your thing.
No, but also the thing is, on our show, we also still book stand-ups. To me, I'm just like,
right.
I just want to book funny ones.
Yeah, dude, I hear ya.
That's it. All I want to do is book someone's funny. So like, if you came into the show, you'd crush. Yeah. Our crowd is up for everything, and I tell everyone like when stand-ups do the show, they're like, do I have to do something weird or pull my pants down? I'm like, no, dude, just fucking let it go.
Funny's funny, man. That's why like people trash comics. It's like, look, man, I remember they trashed Hannah Gatsby, and I was like, all right, I get it. She's a fucking annoying what she's saying, but it's not what we do. It's another version of what we do.
Yeah.
It's just she's doing something else that appeals to those people that will never they like that. Your fans don't like that. That's why they're your fans.
And Hannah's fans don't like yours, and it's like, who cares? It's not, no one's hurting anybody. Let it fucking.
Gives a fuck, man.
That's the thing is when people. I think when people start saying this is or isn't a thing.
That's
like,
what bugs
dude,
me.
Beware those knowers. The people who are like, like, well, fucking, all right. What have you ever done that is so wonderful and
it's
amazing
the same
like this?
Comics that did that shit to you on your first thing, where you kind of took a hunt. It's like, dude, it's like, yes, fucking, who gives a shit?
Yeah, if they're laughing, then it's funny.
Yeah,
and you can't deny that.
No. You can not like it.
Yeah.
You can think it's not good jokes. You can do all that shit. But if you turn your nose down to it, then that's, whatever. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
One of my first comedy mentors, he wrote jokes for Leno and David Letterman. That was his thing. During the day, he wrote jokes. And then he would do those jokes at night that they didn't use. And that was his act. He was set up, punch, tag, tag, tag. Mm-hmm. Right? Standard.
Classic
comedy. And I would go up and I just could fucking win the crowd. I used to go,
yeah.
That was like one of my things.
That's awesome.
I did weird shit and I would murder with nothing. And I remember coming off one time and he'd be like, I hate your comedy.
Yeah.
I just hate it. But you kill. So good for you. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, I can accept that. I get that you hate it, but you know that I kill, so there you go.
And that's, I think it's with me. I understand if people don't like what we're doing, but also I don't.
People love it though.
They love it, and it's fun. And I'm like, ultimately, if you just like relaxed a little bit and tried to enjoy this, I think it would be awesome if you just got on board. And if not, no worries, you don't have to be here.
Yeah, dude.
If you want to be here, you can.
I thought your show was wild. It was crazy. It was something different, and it was. I thought it was unique and it was kind of refreshing to watch.
I appreciate that.
Everybody has a fucking special out. Everybody and their mother has something coming out on YouTube. Everybody's doing stand up, and it's like, all right, you all sound the same.
It's the same
I
shit.
feel like Patrice was silhouetted. Burr, it was like, I don't see comics silhouetted anymore. It's like, I feel like people learned how to do jokes and now do them. and they just do that famous guy, a version of that
over and over
and they
again.
put it out there, and now you can get fans so easy on social media. And
if you're hot or you have big lips or a nice ass, then all of a sudden you have millions of followers. And I'm like, oh, we'll put you in a show. And I'm like, what about the people who've been working so hard?
That was very misogynistic of you.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
Oh, I was talking about guys with big asses.
oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize. They do-
Yeah. Talking about myself. And the big lips was for Matt Rife.
That's like Matt Rife. People hate.
Yeah.
They're like, fuck it. It's like, dude, who gives a fuck?
Whatever.
It's not your fan base, dude.
No.
Look at young hot chicks and their moms aren't coming to see me. If you want to, you can.
You're welcome at my
I
shows.
will cheat on my wife. No, I'm kidding.
No. Unless if she let me,
Oh my God, if she let me. God.
I'd be out there. I'd be back on the streets.
Oh, I can't wait till she quits. My wife just goes, you know what? I'm done. Go do what you got to do.
I'm like, hey, baby, I knew you were the one. I knew you were the one.
Either,
for
honey,
me.
you got to quit or you got to start giving it up. You got to stop being a dirty whore or you got to start giving it up. And I'm talking whore. I mean, eating my ass.
Old school
I mean,
whore.
fucking, I come home and you got stuff in it already. I
I'm ready
want to Jesus fuck you.
The 6 holes?
six hole.
The 6 hole style?
I want to 6 hole you.
Come on, what happened? Sorry, I'd learned complicité from a bisexual clown.
All right, listen, man. It was great having
Man,
you
this is
on.
so much fun.
I want to come see your show.
Please.
I was trying to do it. I couldn't do it. I think
worries.
it was, when was it? Friday? Last night I couldn't do it.
Oh, we're back in January.
I'm going to come with Danny.
Please.
Danny,
Well, I don't need to know about your personal life.
Easy.
Right?
I'm not fucking a botard.
Yeah.
I'm definitely want to come check it out and see it live. If anybody has an opportunity to go see him live, go get your tickets. It's so funny, so unique, so interesting, and you'll thank me for it later. So where can they go see you? Where's your website? What can they follow you on?
Website, stamptowncomedy.com. We've also got a Linktree /Stamptown that's got all of our upcoming tickets, all that fun stuff. And we're in the new year, we're in LA, we're in Tempe, we're in San Francisco, New York, DC. We do a lot of shows in London as well, but we're kind of performing more regularly in New York and LA these days. And then wherever anyone else wants to bring us, I will go.
No, well, man, you got something going on right now.
I'm trying my best.
You got it, man. And it looks like you're having a fucking blast with those guys.
It's my best friends. It's 3 of my best friends lifting me up right
Come
there.
on,
What
dude.
more could you want, you know?
That's it. That's all it is
That's
right
all it
there,
is.
man. We're pieces of shit that
Sometimes
figured out a
people
way
like
to make a living and have fun.
play with your dicks on stage and have people go, that's art.
Do you play with your dick?
If they not anymore.
Okay,
I wrote a few more jokes.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
That'd be uncomfortable. Make sure you check him out. Make sure you check me out at punchup.live/Robert Kelly. All my dates are up there. I'm in Illinois, Batavia, Illinois. In February, I'm at the Governor's in February, Philadelphia in February at the Punchline. I'm all over the place. Make sure you check me out, punchup.live/Robert Kelly. And all my stand-up, we created a new stand-up page because my stand-up wasn't even on YouTube. It was just one Dutch show I did from fucking 15 years ago. But we created YouTube/@Robert Kelly comedy. Go there and subscribe and like and comment to all that stuff and share it. And make sure you go to all these guys right here. What do you got, guys?
Follow me on Instagram at Danny Braff and come to Comedy at Verve in Somerville, New Jersey, the 3rd Thursday of every month.
If you don't yell out at the end of his act, do the dryer bit, you're not funny. I hope that becomes your killer closer.
Oh, God.
Where you have to fucking wet yourself. every
When
fucking
people tell Voss to
my
take his
world.
shirt off.
That's my act.
What's up, cheese balls? This is Joe Russell. I got a pretty sick-ass cheese show. If you just go to YouTube, just type in The Cheese Show. Bam. First thing that pops up. Give it a click, give it a subscribe, give it a like.
Have you seen his show?
I've not seen the
He
show.
does a show with his wife, and it's all cheese. And they eat cheese, review cheese, and they do these fucking crazy sketches. They write songs. It's like a 15-minute show, Joe.
Does the room stink of cheese? Like a
The stinky cheese.
French cheese.
Buddy, it's so fucking stupid and funny. I do not know why it is not more successful than it is. And I feel bad for his wife because she's got it.
Yeah.
He lacks it.
Yeah. He
and she's
lactates
got
it. She's
Yeah.
got it, though.
He should.
I got that clown laugh from Danny.
What do you got, man?
You can just follow me on Instagram at Zach
Dude,
Unlimited.
stop.
That'd be awesome.
No, you took my note wrong. You lost it.
Damn it.
All right, listen, you're a dryer. Go. Better. Better.
I want to hear that tumble.
Do it.
I'll
give you plugs as a dryer.
Please follow me on Instagram.
See what I'm saying? $250, please.
What's your Instagram, Dryer?
Zachary Unlimited.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Couldn't hear you, Dryer.
Zachary Unlimited.
All right, I want the dryer cycle to end. What is it? Are you fucking R2D2?
You haven't heard how ridiculously long the dryers
It's dial-up.
things are?
Fucking cocksucker goes to a laundromat all the time. You have your mother do your laundry?
No, the dryer like ringtone at the end when it's done is insanely long. Have you not seen those?
That was good, man. You got something. It really does work.
Yeah, it does, right? See what I'm saying?
We're going to go to Patreon right now. You stick around for some questions?
Yes, absolutely.
We're going to go to Patreon right now. So if you're not a member of Patreon, you don't get to go.
No,
We're
sorry.
going to go to the questions from the Patreon. If you want to be part of the Patreon, patreon.com/Robert Kelly, and you can ask questions to the guests. You can go to see the show. We get the show first before anybody else, and you get the extra episode, and you get to watch it live and be in the chat and all that stuff. So make sure you go there and check it out. Thanks again. You guys are the best fans in the world. Happy holidays. And you know what, dude? We'll see you next week.